Once upon a time, in the busy city of Irvington, there was a girl named Karen who attended Grove Street School. She was full of energy and loved to have fun, but she also had a habit that often got her into trouble. Karen enjoyed making up stories. She would tell her classmates tales of fantastic adventures, hidden treasures, and mysterious stories that never really occurred. One day, Karen was sitting in class when an idea popped into her head. She dashed out into the hallway, eyes wide with pretend fear, and shouted, "There's a fire in the school! It's spreading fast!" To make it even more believable, she pulled the fire alarm. The students and teachers all hurried out of their classrooms, racing toward the exits. The fire department was called, and the firefighters arrived in no time, ready to battle the flames. But when they searched the building, there was no fire, just the regular school day, now interrupted by Karen's false alarm. Karen giggled as she watched the chaos she had caused. "I was just joking. There's no fire. I fooled you all." The teachers shook their heads and led the students back inside. Some of them began to lose trust in Karen. They wondered if they could believe anything she said. A few days later, Karen came up with another trick. During recess, she ran up to her teacher, panting for breath, and yelled, "There's smoke coming from the cafeteria! I think the kitchen is on fire!" Once again, the alarm was sounded, and everyone rushed to evacuate. But when they reached the cafeteria, there was no smoke, no fire, just the lunch ladies preparing the day's meals. Karen snickered as she watched everyone realize they had been tricked again. This time, the teachers were not amused. They began to ignore Karen when she spoke, unsure if she was telling the truth. One afternoon, while exploring a quiet corner of the schoolyard, Karen decided to sneak into a storage room that was usually off-limits. As she was looking around, she accidentally knocked over a stack of boxes, causing some of the shelves to collapse. Trapped under the debris, she was scared and hurt. She needed help, and fast. Karen struggled to free herself, and with tears streaming down her face, cried out, "Help! Help! I'm stuck, and I can't get out!" But when her classmates and teachers heard her cries, they simply shrugged. "It's just another one of Karen's tricks," they said. "There's probably nothing wrong." Karen's heart sank as she realized that no one believed her when it truly mattered. Just as she was about to give up hope, a kind teacher named Mrs. Thompson, who had always been patient with Karen, heard the fear in her voice and decided to check on her. Mrs. Thompson rushed to the storage room and found Karen trapped under the fallen shelves. With the teacher's help, Karen was quickly freed and taken to the nurse's office to be treated for her injuries. She was safe, but she felt a deep sense of regret. The next day, Karen stood in front of her classmates and teachers, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry," she said. "I've lied so many times that you couldn't believe me when it was important. I've learned that honesty is the best way to be, and I promise to always tell the truth from now on." The sincerity in Karen's eyes touched everyone, and slowly, they began to forgive her. From that day forward, Karen kept her word. The students in the school slowly began to trust her again. Karen learned a valuable lesson that day. Honesty builds trust, and trust, once lost, is very hard to regain. And so, Karen lived happily, knowing that being truthful was the best way to keep her friends, her teachers, and herself safe.